Hello, everybody. See if anybody's in here. Nope, no one yet. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. We're going to get started here just in a few moments. We do have some or a singular pre-submitted question from Manal. But if you do have a question, feel free to put it in the chat so we can kind of start formulating a game plan to go through some of the questions. If you're just here to hang out and learn, as well as lunch, that's fine as well. But if you do have a specific question, feel free to put it in the chat so we can kind of formulate a game plan in an order of which we're going to go through them. But Manal, like I said, I do have yours, so we'll start with yours here in just a few moments. All right, we're just going to give it just a few more moments, maybe 15 more seconds to see if anybody's got a question in the chat. And again, if you're just here to hang and learn, that's fine as well. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So, again, welcome in. Thank you for joining the Lunch and Learn. My name is Rob. I'm on the training team. We do have one pre-submitted question from Manal. And the question is, hello, can decisions send a file attachment from a form to an internal network location? And then the second question from Manal as well, is it possible to have a file path, and when you click on the link, it opens the file explorer? So I've been doing some research on your questions, and I'm appreciative that you sent it ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the second one because that's the one I was working on most recently. I've done some research. I kind of clicked through our support um, channels, and I saw that we had a really similar question in the past about opening, in certain emails. So you can click a file path and it'll open in File Explorer. But from my initial research, it looks like if you are using Chrome uh, or certain browsers, it's not going to allow you to, it's not going to validate that HTTPS request to open the file explorer. I will send you the documentation that I found right here in the chat in just a moment. I have three links for you to read through. Kind of did some research on that, but that is going to be more of a browser based question and allowing it to have the credentials to access your file explorer, which, from a network security standpoint, is something that they kind of keep relatively tight because you don't want, options to just you click a link and it downloads or it opens a file explorer. It has access to your actual local machine. But I will send you those here in a second for the second part, which is the file path. And when you click it, it opens File Explorer. But there is not a direct way in Decisions to do it because it's, again, more of a way that your browser would credential or authenticate into um, your Windows or Mac OS. Because again, you need to make sure all that credentialing is set up. But I have three links that I'll send you here in the chat in just a few moments. The first part of the question, though, I do have some insight for you that is directed towards decisions. So that question was how to send a file attachment from a form to an internal network location. So let's take a look over here. I did make a quick one for you in Lunch and Learn. Here we go. So I am in decisions. I'm going to move some of this chat stuff around. And I did get an additional question in the chat. So thank you, Chris. We'll be with you next. So Chris will be next. And again, if you're joining in the last couple moments, uh, please feel free to put your questions in the chat so that we can answer them in an economical way. So let's start with that question related to, and again, for the folks just joining, how can I send a file attachment from a form to an internal network location? So you're going to have a handful of options for that, and it really depends on what your use case is. But with We can also download file using FTP. So depending on how you have your internal network set up, you're probably going to end up using one of these four steps along the bottom here to actually move and uh, send that file data to a internal service. If you are using network move, you would use build data to get your credentialing in, but you'd have to have a file path in which you could use the plain text editor, merge plain text, and provision it that way using the file upload. We can delete that. Um, but Manal, if you have the ability to speak, you can bring some more clarity to the situation. Let's see if I can allow you to speak here. Give me one moment. Participants. Oh, there we are. Manal. So Manal, if you have the ability, I just unmuted you. Yep, there you go. Can you bring some clarity to what your end goal is? And we have a couple people in here. We can maybe give you some guidance.
Hey Robert, so we have a form, just a regular form where they put the attachments on the first form, but
Okay.
we are trying to send those attachments to their internal network drive. So all the files just store in there, and they just have the file path. So it's kind of like, let me do it. So it's a form A where
Hmm.
external user comes in, they put in the attachments. Then it
Okay.
goes for approval to a PM. And then the approval goes in rather than seeing those individual attachments, they will have like a file path. And in that file path, all the attachments that were submitted by the external user should be in there. That's what my end goal is, if that kind of, if I explained it correctly.
Yeah, that does make some sense. Let's see. Um, I was speaking with Jared earlier. Jared, do you have any insight on what would be the best of these options for that type of use case?
Can you say the use case one more time? So you have a file, if someone uploads it, and
Hmm.
then based on that user form upload, you have to send it to a network location or a location on the file, like the local file system of the server.
On the network location, yes.
Okay, network
So,
location. So it's like a shared drive and stuff like that.
mhm, so every single, for example, it's like a, for example, it's called encroachment slash, and then each inquiry number has like an individual file path that it gets.
Sure.
And then all the files just get it stored in there.
So it's a network. So it's just so I can verify, it's a network drive, right? Like it's another.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
Hmm.
then, based on that one, you would need the network move. You can click on that, Robert, and I can expound upon some of the things that are needed for that. So a thing when you use this step, you will need to be aware that when decisions utilizes and like tries to go to that file path, the service account that runs decisions will have to make sure that that's part of the permissions of that shared drive. So you'd have to talk to your ops team about that one because if the decision service account doesn't have access, you're going to get a you know denied permission error. So that's what you're going to want to do is you want to take the file that comes out of the form, store it temporarily in a location. You can store it from the two full file path. You can store that in like a temp folder in decisions or a temp folder on the local drive there. And then you can say, hey, go to the file path, grab that file name, and then from full file path, put the share drive link and then the forward slash and then the file name. And then it will do a network move and say, okay, I'm going to take it from the server with stored in decisions and then put it inside the next location there. So,
Gotcha. So even if I have, so like for example, right now I'm storing all the files in decisions.
okay.
And then I just named it like it's a file reference, and then I have a field says like file attachments.
Okay.
That's how would it know that take those files, exact files in there, since where would I input that field?
What field? Excuse me.
So where I'm saving all the files. So it's just like a download box. So for example, on the first form, yeah, like that file to download, where would I put that in the
So
network? Mhm.
wait. So you're downloading it. So you're not uploading a file to a form and then sending out that way. You're saying I got a form, I download the file,
Oh
and
no,
then
no, sorry,
from
upload the files.
oh, okay, I got you. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you upload it. So if you have the file reference, you can get that file reference by URL, and you can then take that file reference URL, and that will be where it's from. And then the two part of the network move would be where it's what is it? No, click on the network move, Robert.
Mhm.
So the from full file path would be that document URL, and then the to full file path will be from there. So that's how those that's would be the configurations that you would test here.
Gotcha. So the from full file path would be my file to download.
Do you have a file reference, Robert, on your system? Just to kind of show this, because I think it's still a little abstract. So like close
I
this. Go
yeah.
ahead. Do you not? If you know, I can
I do not think I do.
I got one. All right, give me a second. I'm going to show this with the document data type. It would be the same thing with
I'm gonna stop sharing.
um it'd be the same thing with the file reference. So let me go ahead, share my screen here. Screen two. Let me know when you can see my screen two. All right, perfect. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Yeah, I think I have it as a documents. There we go. So this is a document, but what I can do is I can get the document URL and I can grab that, and then you would put this in the first part of that of the from. So I'm just gonna kind of walk you through of what I would try. There might be a couple things that would need to be configured, but this is where I would start. So let's just create like a simple test flow, network move, right? And then the from full file path, you can set it to a constant, or you can just get it from, um, you can get this dynamically and then to the full file path, right? That would look like, I think it's like share, you know, uh, or like P forward slash drive forward slash documents forward slash, Hairostratic fame txt, right? And all of this, I would just make this dynamic, right? And then once I have my network settings configured here, then it would say, okay, I'm going to get the document from here, and then I'll move it to this full file path.
But so from full file path, you used a specific link of just that document. What if I have like 20 documents that the user uploaded?
You just for each, you can just create looping logic to go through it. So for
Okay.
each, yeah. So
Mhm.
I think can I say get document or get URL, get file URL, get file references in folder. I think there's a step. Let me just search for a moment around it. File reference, internal integration, internal services. Let me go to file reference service. File. I'm past it, didn't I? Yep, there we go, past it. Da, 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 da. Get direct download, get file data from path, boom. So you basically, you would take the documents, get your list of file references, you get the file data from path. Let's see if this is what I'm looking at. List of path. Nope, that's not the step I was looking at. I thought it was. Get file data with path. Perfect. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So basically you have your list of file references, you loop through them, you get all the path information, right? And then from full path is a select from flow and the output of it. So let me just craft it here so you kind of see it. So if I branch for each, let's say I got a list of file references, right? And so this is gonna be my list of file references. I'm gonna get all of them, right? And then after I get that list of file reference, then on my network move, once my server decides to wake up, there we go. All right. And then what I can do is on this part, then I can say, hey, I want to network move all of these, right? So that's kind of what I would say the setup of the flow would be, right? Whatever your form here or your fetch entities here, you get the file path with data by the ID, you'll get the file reference path, and then you say, hey, move this document to my P drive, and then it will complete. The biggest difficulty, I think, would be this part. You'd have to talk to your ops team to verify, does the service account have access to that drive, and then make sure all of the stuff is accurate, for it. Did that answer your
Gotcha.
question?
Yes, that
Okay.
makes sense. So just loop through the file reference, all the files that has been given, put
Mm-hmm.
them in the list, and then you just go through get file data with path one, and then put that into the to path. No, get from.
Yeah, from full path is the file that's in the old location, and then the to file path is the new location you want to send it to.
Okay, gotcha. This makes a lot more sense. Thank you so much. This gives me a great start step so I can start. Thank
Good.
you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Jared. All right, let's bounce back over. And I did put the links for those HTML kind of provisioning for opening your file explorer. And again, a lot of the general consensus is if you're using Google Chrome, it is not going to work as expected. So you might have to do some kind of workaround. And again, it's just like a computer security thing, an IT security thing. So we got some more questions in the chat. So from Chris, and again, thank you guys for the chat. If you're joining a little later, feel free to put questions in the chat and we will work through them in the order in which we get them. So we have two questions. One is, how do you get a report viewer on a page or a dashboard to update the report upon completion of a user action on a line on that report? And then the second one is related to reliably selecting reports and applying filters using that selection bus. Um, so it's kind of wordy, but about selection buses and the differences between set page variables, set dashboard report parameters, and other ways you can send data to the selection bus. Also, when using the set dashboard report parameters and configuring the folder ID, can you clarify whether it's the folder ID for the page, the folder ID where the page is published as a dashboard, or the folder for that report? What if there's more than one page dashboard report in that folder, and does it matter? Okay, so we will start at the very top. I'll go ahead and unmute you just because the question about the report viewer updating the report upon completion of a user action on a line on that report. So hopefully, Chris, if you are available to, could you give a little bit of clarity on that as well? I'll give you that. You should be able to unmute Chris if you're. Thank you very much. I see you.
Yeah, so like if you have a page, right, with a report showing in a report viewer and you've got that data type configured for user actions, you might right click on a record. You might get some sort of user action that allows you to, might show a form and allows you to edit the data associated with that record. You close the form, um, but the report's not just auto updating. And so until you hit refresh on the report, it doesn't, the report just shows the old data. And I've played around with a lot of different settings with no luck. So I'm trying
Okay.
to.
Okay. Again, I do feel bad about it, but is Jared, do you have any insight on this one as well? I'm probably going to pull up one of our training where you do that parent-child reporting. I think it might be in that realm. Do you have any insight for me?
I mean, it's not really a child. It wouldn't necessarily have to be related to a child report.
Okay.
It could just be like, of course, you won't be able to just pull up an existing data type necessarily that you have in the decision system because it may not be the data type's probably not configured for user actions, right? But like envision like a simple database structure. You're reporting on that database structure. That database structure is configured for user actions, so it has it has a configuration folder. Inside that configuration folder, it's got a flow or multiple flows, one for each user action. Um, is there a way after you complete that user action, if it changes the record on which you performed it, um, can that report auto update without having to hit the refresh?
Yes, the answer is yes. It's a
So,
little weird. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
yeah,
can. There you go. That's it. That's good, Chris. No, so yeah, it can do that. You have to. This is why I talk about a dashboard. You have to understand a dashboard is a page plus a normal folder. If
yeah,
you could stop your screen share, Robert, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And this is the reason why I describe it that way. because anytime you want data to refresh, right? Like you said, by default, it doesn't. You do an action, it's the same old record, and you have to manually click refresh. In decisions, let's see, I want to see if I have a dashboard. I might not have a dashboard where I can show this, but I can at least show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead. I'm just going to create a flow here. There is a step in decisions. Let's say testing, refresh. So there is a step in decisions called send folder change event.
Yeah. I tried this, but I'm interested to see what you
So
do.
okay, so you've configured this. Then on your report, have you set it to respect the folder change event?
I think I tried that, but let me ask you this. On
Okay.
this, the folder ID, is
Mm-hmm.
it the folder ID of the report?
No, it's the folder ID of the dashboard
Of the
that the
dashboard. Okay, so it's the
that
folder
reside.
ID of the dash. Hold on, and getting some to
Yeah.
write.
Sure, sure. Yeah, because that like I'll just comment on it while you're getting your writing implement. So that's why I describe a dashboard as a page plus a folder. So any refreshes and things like that, navigation to another dashboard, you have to reference its folder ID. So if you want to refresh a specific report that has a page on it, you need to first have, use this step for the folder ID. I'll
Yep.
presume, let's say you put the folder ID. Then the next thing you would have to do to get it to refresh is you have to make sure that whatever dashboard you're using, I'm just going to create a really quick.
And that's
Uh,
going to be in your page folder,
exactly.
the way we do our for our standard scaffolding.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be. So this part doesn't matter of the
Yeah,
folder.
I got you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. So if I just create a test page, right, and maybe I can build. I think I could probably build this on the fly. Let's see. And I'm just going to pick existing, create new test report. We'll make this over just the common account data type system, since that's just basic. And we will get entity name and email, and then create it on by. Sure, why not? Let me do this. Right, so then I have my report here, and I'm just going to add this test page on. Come on, system. I feel like I got to restart my computer. My local has been super slow today. It's like it knows when I have a significant point, and then
Yeah.
it's like, I'm gonna freeze. And it's like, you just ruined my flow, man. It's like Emperor's New Groove. You seen that movie where it's like, get
Sure
through off the
enough.
Emperor's Groove? Yeah, dude. That's what this computer feels like to me. Anywho, all right. So we got this page here. I'm gonna attach it just to this folder right here. So we'll say add page slash dashboard, test page. Perfect. So now when you configure this, all right, I have my page displays my accounts. Now, if you want this thing to actually refresh, you have to make sure that on the actual page itself, so my test page, that when
Yep.
you click on this report, do you have on behavior, you have to say, let's see, where is
I
it?
mean, I checked everything.
What version are you running? Because if that's the case, then I think there might be something wrong with your instance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that
I say I
should,
checked everything, but what my strategy was check everything and start removing one check at a time
mhm.
until it stopped working. But it never worked to begin with.
Okay.
Let's see
Well,
what version I'm on. I mean, I'm on 8 something.
yeah, confirm that for me. I'm gonna build it really quick because I can build
Okay.
something that creates an action. Let's see.
I'm
Let me,
on
yeah,
812.
812. Okay. Let's see. Do we have anyone on the doc team? Nope, we don't. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna just create a really quick data type. What data type are you using?
Simple database structure.
Okay, perfect. So then I will create a simple database structure. We'll call this account DB. I'll say this is first name and last name
That's probably
and
good enough.
email. Yep. And then I think we're gonna be good with that. Oh, I forgot to enable the what do you call it?
Configuration.
Yeah, exactly, the configure because I keep forgetting it's by default not enabled, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and just start crafting that flow to create well actually I need to create the form first while that's compiling. So normal or create the form. Okay, finally compiled. Create account DB record. And then we have first name, boom. And we're just going to leave it at that. And then I need a button.
Yep.
There we
Oh,
go.
enough, right?
Yep. That's all I need. All right. Then we go to,
If Anisha was doing this, it'd look a lot prettier.
yeah, 100%.
That's it.
100%. Me, I'm just like, hey, what functions? I was trained by Eric Welmerink, so it's just I have funny, goofy names, and it's just for speed.
I'm more like you than Anisha.
Yeah. All right, and then I forgot enable actions. Boom. Cool, cool.
Ooh, I thought you
And
couldn't do that after the fact.
oh no, you could. You just edit it and then you
Okay.
enable it. Yep. But now it'll take a little bit to compile. While I wait for that to compile, I'm just gonna grab the use defined types. Let me grab my show form. Let me freeze my decisions instance. Hey, I finally came back up. All right, and then we go to show form. Put this here, put this here. Well, I just created it. There we go. It's right there. Boom. All right, that's picked. I know it's just taking a little bit to render, which is fine. Database structure, account DB. We're going to create this record. We're going to build this data and select from flow, grab the first name. Everything else is just going to be blank, which is fine.
Yep.
So we're going to go here. It'll be me, tab, and then we'll run another one and we'll say Sabrina. And then we'll do one more and we'll say this is for Chris.
Oh,
Boom.
sweet.
Exactly. You made the cut, man. You're in. All right. So now, since we got those records in, let me create that really quick page. Come on. Come on. Don't take too long to load. Perfect. And I need page. That's what we need. And we're going to go to page, create account and DB page, or just account DB page. Account DB page. Enter, grab my report viewer. We'll say pick a create. We're going to create a new one. Count, oops. Count DB report. Yep, I spelled it wrong. I know.
Yeah.
And database structures, account DB. It will grab first name. Okay, cool. And I'm going to save this. And then we got that part. And then what we're going to do is let me go into. First, let me test it the other way. So I'm just going to create a what do you call it? A user action and then
Yeah.
just confirm that, hey, yep. Create a user action. I'm just gonna call this update record or record. Oh, good, it didn't enter record. So now I can at least say that right. And then we'll do selective. Oh, that's right. I can't search for this. We have to go here, database structures and account DB, and we're going to selective update. We're gonna show form. Boom. Grab it here. Put this here. Boom. Boom. Create account DB record form. Put this in here. Put this in here. And what we'll do, come on. Oh, it froze on me. Yeah, you can close this. That's fine. Perfect. Now we're here. And now grab my ID, which will be the entity. That's all the way in
Yeah.
here. And then I'm just gonna say, I don't need I just need to pass it in here. First name, select from flow. Be the first name output. And we'll say this is done. All right, cool. So
So
let's
first
test it
you're gonna
without
do
it.
it without setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Without setting it, just to make sure that I'll put it on this folder. Just to make sure that there's no like version difference and
Yeah.
that I can accurately replicate the issue. Count DB page. That's what I want. All right, cool. Then we're here. All right. So now if I update this record, let's say I want to change this to Will. Button.
Bad move.
Yeah, it was a bad move. Let me change it back. Okay, cool. Now I got it to, oops.
I like that even better.
Exactly right. All right, so I got it. I have to refresh and then it comes up. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this data folder and I'm going to add that folder ID. And let's see if it switches. Alrighty, finally, copy text. We're going to move here. And so I'm going to update my flow here. And I'm going to add send folder. Send folder.
Change event.
Send folder. I think it's this one. There's, nope, not that one.
There's only like 18 of them, you know.
Exactly. It's not hard at all, right? So then I'm going to grab this in my folder ID. Constant here. Boom. Awesome. Cool.
All right.
So now I got it here. And now let's go ahead and test it out again. And I don't think it will work. Oh, no, I clicked the wrong one. Okay, I'm going to click on this side. Haha, browser. Can't defeat me. No, it won. Hey, we're in. All right, let's just delete this folder. There we go. Now we're going to go here. All right, so now if I update this record, let's update this record and I'll do Josh. Let's do that one. And then if I run this, okay, good. That's what I expected. It should not work, but
Yeah.
it does change. All right, good. So let's change it back.
Now you just have to change the page to respect
Yeah, now let me
the report
change.
viewer on the page, right?
Yeah, 818. So I'm on 818. Flows. Wait, pages. Count DB report. Nope, that's not what it is. Page. Count DB page. And then if I behavior, and then let's say on current folder change. I'm going to say for that one. We'll try that one. If that doesn't work, then we'll click on some other ones. So now if I go back to it, data, and let's say I update this record and I say this is Brian. And I go here, boom, there
Yeah.
you go.
Man, I swear I tried that, but okay. But maybe I should do an upgrade. I'm always chicken. Um, okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I know I get all that. And so I think you answered a big part of my second question. It is the folder ID where the dashboard is, not where the page is.
Uh,
Is
so
that,
th so the folder is where the dashboard is.
yeah. What if you have more than one page in that folder? It doesn't matter. It's sending that change event and all the pages will update if they're configured to update on
Yes,
the change event.
exactly. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
that's what all these other options kind of refer to. So if I go to account DB page, just so I can give you more insight on these. So right, this is just whatever on this current folder, meaning the dashboard, if there's anything that's changed.
Yeah.
Or if there's any contained entity. What does that mean? Many times, like I think tirade our customer folder, we actually store all the customer folder records inside a folder called customer. So this way, if like someone, let's say we get a new logo, right, and we get a new logo
Yeah.
comes in, that adds an entity into that dashboard record, or into that dashboard folder rather, and then because that's a new change on an entity, then the dashboard will also refresh. So that's what uncontained entity change means. And then any folder change, you rename, hit a right clickable action, what have you, that then it will affect.
Okay.
On tree change, what that means is a lot of people will have like scaffolded folders. So like, you could
Yeah.
have like folder up reporting where you have like a dashboard overarching everything, and then like a couple of nested dashboards underneath it with folder, like in a folder tree scheme. That one says if anything within that folder tree gets updated, it will also update, that page if it's like on the top or wherever it's at.
Yeah.
And then auto refresh, right? It says what it does. It just auto refreshes. We never recommend it because it's very
Yeah.
non-performant.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much behaves as I expected. I don't know why. Are there any known bugs in there? Is this related? Let me ask you this. So the
Mm-hmm.
whole selection bus thing,
Yeah.
setting page parameters and sending page variables. Again, does the folder ID on the page parameters step refer to, or to the dashboard parameters? I guess that refers to the folder under which you attach the page as a dashboard. Your dashboard folder in your parlance.
When if I use like a get page variable step,
Well, I guess that same with that one. Yeah. Does a get page variable step require a folder ID?
does it require folder ID? It does. So no. So like it's like a yes or no. Yes, it probably in the back end it has to because it's for a certain type of flow called page context aware flow. So it has a context of what folder the page is on. But technically, all the get page variable does, or the set page variable does rather, is it just adds a let's go ahead and let's add this. Let's see, where's that thing? Click over here, send folder change events. Send folder change, and I'll say this is FN, right, for first name. All the get or set page variable does is like, you'll notice that when I go back to my dashboard and I show this account DB thing, once it loads, of course. You'll see that because I configured a report row to output a variable, the variable is actually in the URL, and you'll see this once it loads. And so if I use a get page variable, right? So as you can see here, right? fn equals Sabrina. So whenever you use a get page variable stuff, it's just grabbing whatever like URL variable that's up
Yeah.
here and then taking the value from it. Same thing with set page variable. You can say, hey, I want to set a new variable called ln equals Lyerla, right? Boom, right? So you can definitely do that, and I think I would have like a and or something if since it's
So
URL encoded.
literally, page
Yeah,
variables are URL variables.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. So that's how you
So
interact with
that's
it.
not sending anything to your selection bus.
So if you use a set page variable step, and I say like update, uh, wait a minute, say that one more time. It
So,
almost
so,
clicked.
so that has nothing to do with selection buses. I don't know where I got that in my head.
It's like it does, but it depends on what you mean by that. So like it will interact with the selection bus, yes. So if I say like, hey, get page variable from fn, it will, and I have the get page variable step on my dashboard, it will say, hey, the output is Sabrina for fn. Or if I clicked on, my record, then say the output for that is Jared. And then you can now use it in the flow to process whatever you need to process, send it to another dashboard or whatever. So it's like, yes, it does. It's just the send filter change source is just saying, hey, here's a value in the report you want to push to the URL.
Okay. All right. I don't want to monopolize this anymore.
No worries.
Satisfy some other important clients.
Gotcha. All right, I'll pass it back over to Robert.
Thank you, Jared. Hey, Chris, thank you for the question. It was informative on my end as well. So I'm lunching and learning with you as well. So thank you very much. Let's see. Are there any other questions in the chat? I did notice that no one added any, but the extra few people that are here, if you have any specific questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we can address those things right there. I'll go to Q&A. I had one at 12:04. Let's see. Apologies. Wade, I did not see it come through at 12:04. Um, let's see if it came in a different direction here. Oh, there you are, Wade. Thank you so much. Apologies. I do see it now. I was looking in the wrong section. So we're trying to manually create assignments. The blocker I have is handler data. Is there a way to create that or not have it required? So you're trying to manually create assignments. The blocker I have is handler data. The way to create that may or may not have been required. Okay. Once again, I'll probably just have you. I allowed you to talk there, Wade. Apologies on missing your question earlier, but I do appreciate it. So again, that was on my end. But how can we help you? Can you clarify that question for me as well?
Yeah, so I'm on the back end. I'm creating assignments for users.
Okay.
So we decide what assignments go out and who to assign it to. So I'm just trying to create assignment and assign it to different users. So all I really need to do is create an assignment, and I guess the only way I found to do it now is to create a simple assignment, and then because that does not output any assignment ID or output anything at all, I have to then search for that assignment I just created within the flow to go get all its details. And so I was trying to simplify the whole thing is like, well, I'll just, instead of searching for it and all this other stuff, I'll just create an assignment from scratch and just, create an assignment, build the data. But then when I build the data, there's always this handler ID or handler data is null error I get. And then I look into it and there's no, I mean, there's explanation of what it is, but not necessarily how to create it. If you can even create it at all, it just says that it stores data for the escalation form and handler data, different things.
Okay. Let's see if I can look at it and we'll start share. Jared, does that ring a bell with you as well? I'm trying to put it all together. So we have a simple assignment and you want what to reference that assignment in another place, or what is the end goal?
The end goal is just to create an assignment and to assign it to a user in the simplest way possible.
Dynamically,
Okay, the
right? Or no?
dynamically, I guess, what step would you be talking about?
So
Well, no, I was more asking like, what's the avenue you're trying to create? So I'll share my screen. I can show you what I'm trying to mess around with. So I'm trying to figure out. So are you just creating a task like add task here? I'm
I'm
doing that.
doing, well, I couldn't use this because the assign to needs to be filled out, but it's that part is dynamic, is where I'm feeding in the account IDs for who to be assigned to. And that is more of like a manual thing, at least what I see. So,
So talking
but
about
I use a add simple assignment step is
add
what
simple
I've been doing.
assignment. Oops, I can't spell. That's my problem. Simple assignment. I'm just gonna search for assignment.
It's probably in the integration account
Oh,
or
is it
assignment. Yeah.
okay? And then I see. So yeah, so it sounds like you're trying to create an assignment dynamically and say,
Yeah,
here's
yeah, I guess yes.
yeah, here we go.
That one. And the problem I have with this one is there is no output. So it would be super
Mhm.
nice if it outputted the assignment, but it doesn't output even the ID of what it is.
Yeah, so is the goal? I actually don't know what this step does. I'd have to research that. But is the goal just you want to dynamically have assignees?
Yeah.
That's it. You can if you want to like have a dynamic assignee, you can click edit for the assignment setup, and then you can do the accounts and groups here. You can then choose the account from a variable.
Account. Okay, list of, so what is the string? It wants the account IDs there.
Yeah, like the email address or the group. So you can say like, for example, like I give assignment, like, we have assignments here as trainers. I can pass in the group trainers and then it will add this task to all the trainers. So
Okay.
I can demonstrate this right here and just say, oops.
And does that output the assignment? Or I guess doesn't this? Because after that, I was going to create I have a entity extension onto assignment. So I was trying to manually build it within there, but I can just select it off of this if it outputs the assignment.
So then let me run it. Oop, let me grab test. Come on. Come on, decisions. Oh my goodness. Because this won't output. So this is like, so this won't output the assignment. This just it won't output the ID of it. It
Oh,
will just,
and I'm kind of the
say.
same situation.
So
I
then,
want.
so
Oh,
can you?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still not misunderstanding the use case. So you want
Well,
to?
well, that is the use case. Is I want to dynamically assign users
Yeah.
um, within there and add the assignment. But part of that too is I have an entity extension that needs the assignment that I created to, you know, it either wants me to reference the assignment that it wants me to assign the extension to,
What's the
or
entity extension used for?
to add fields onto assignments like record ID and record type and different things.
Record type.
So it's just additional details on, onto what the assignment is for the user.
Okay, so you're trying to grab additional fields from that. Okay. So this it's interesting. It's not we can get this functioning, but I'm just more thinking in my head. I'm wondering if architecturally if that's a good idea. There might be a better way to like create a simple database structure, and then you can store the um you can store the assignment ID from that. Um, which is how we get that. All right, so if we got this, hmm. So extra field. So the extra field is just for additional tracking that you just want on that data structure.
On the assignment, yeah.
Yeah, on the assignment data type. Okay. So it's got additional fields. Okay, I see where you're at. So now you're trying to build it and you're like, hey, where's this thing? Where's it coming from? I got you.
Yeah, it's like I just need it to I just need it to tell me the assignment that it just created, but it doesn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I'll build it manually, but then when I build it manually, it's like, well, the handler data is not there, so
Yeah, there's gonna be a
change.
ton of things. Yeah, the assignment. So assignments and decisions are made up of I think 3 or 4 database tables. The assignments table, the handler data table, and then the delta flow change table. I think is the other one. So basically, it'd be very hard to manually create it because you'd have to like go through 3 different tables and connect them all.
Right.
So that goes to the question. Let's see, what could we do? Get all.
So I mean, even if I re-engineer this, like you're saying, won't I still need to output an assignment for me to connect the whatever the new simple data structure would be?
Say that one more time.
I guess wouldn't I be in the same situation if I re-engineer it to kind of what the other thing you were thinking? I'd still need the assignment, or assignment ID, right?
Yeah. Um, Yeah, but it's almost like, you would have to. It's almost like you have to run 3 marathons instead of just running 1 marathon, right? So it's yeah, you'd still be the same position, but it's like the length of time to develop would be a lot different. Um, how? So here's this architecture question. Are what data structure are you using? Not the one that extends it, but like, are you using like a case entity or a flow execution extension, or is there anything you're using to store those assignments?
They, I guess not really. I'm just storing them in a folder. I've creating a simple assignment, storing it in a folder that I created. And then on top of that, I have entity extension where I store the extra fields, and that's it.
Which full so okay, so here's what you could do, and I don't know all of it, all of the architectural pieces about it, but what you could do is in the assignment setup you can specify where you want this thing stored, right? So we can say select or from a flow. I'm gonna say, let me just create on this side here. And I'm just gonna create a quick folder. Assignment folder storage. That's what I'm gonna call it. Get folder ID. All right, cool. And I'm gonna say, let's do this from flow. Assignment folder ID, cool. I'm gonna paste this. So now what I can do is, once we, nope, that wouldn't work either, because I would pause it. You would have to, let me take this one offline. I would have to think about how we'd get it. Essentially what I was gonna suggest is if we store it in a specific location, and then you can call that folder that has that assignment, then you'll have all the assignment properties with it. And that would give you that ID if you want to add those extra fields to it. Yes, but let me take offline and ask some people around. I'll send you an email, probably of a small project, if applicable, of how that would work. But I think there's some other architectural considerations that I'd have to work through
Okay.
for it. So
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you again. So we got one final one, it looks like. Hopefully we're still in the room. Oh, we are. So we have a question about using a data repeater to gather stock symbols and their corresponding company name. Assuming the user adds multiple entries, how do I gather all that data listed into a separate confirmation form? So I do have something for this one, I think. I do remember also seeing on our internal people working on this particular use case. So maybe that was your use case, but on our internal support channel, I do remember seeing something very similar to this. But what I might recommend in this particular instance, I'll show off one of our training sprints. And if you went through this, you can maybe do some rebuilding here. But we have on this particular project, we have a data repeater as well that, allows you to import, has an import dropdown. So with this import, we can then use a rule collection filter. So for your particular instance, you might say you would use a rule collection filter, and you could say the I-9 import data return matches, and you can edit the rule to say that the entity import equals yes. So then it'll make just a filtered report, or sorry, not a filtered report, but it'll filter down to just the ones that you want to import. And then on your confirmation message, you can take this output and build a on the end form, pick or create end form. And as well, I'll unmute you here in a second. So if I'm not answering your question, we'll get clarity. So if you feel like I'm going the wrong way, but you can pick or create your end form, and in your end form, you can do a, we'll just create new. Uh, we can do a label and build this data from the output of your entities. So you could say, hey, just, the ones that filtered out with the entity import equals yes, this output, you can build out that output. So again, if I debug this, um, you'll have to run that input, but you can, if you debug it, it should give you a list of just the ones that you chose to import. So where would I be here? I-9 data. Do I have one at all? Maybe this one will work. I don't think it will because it's the wrong fields. Um, let's see here. But that is what I would maybe recommend in that case. So again, you can, from your data repeater, you can do a rule collection filter and say, hey, if that field that you chose to import, or the section of your data repeater that you chose to recommend or chose to assess, if that entity was imported, and again, my local host is also having the same problems Jared's was, you can, on your end form, use that output as the input for your build from uh, data name. So let me unmute you and see if that's closer to what you were asking. Brent, or if you're able to speak, is that close to what you were asking for?
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's actually perfect.
Okay, great. I'm glad I got to hit one nail on the head today. So, yeah, you can use a rule collection filter and run that rule to just say, hey, if the import equals yes, you can build that as a specific output and then map that output into your
Keyboard.
end form.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Any other questions in the chat? I think Chris, and there you go. Chris got it. Okay. Well, I guess that concludes our hour of Lunch and Learn. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Chris, for the good questions. Thank you, all the rest of the teammates. We'll be back on Monday at the same time. So this will be on YouTube shortly. So if Chris, if you have to review that content, it'll be on YouTube. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Robert.